Kentucky Kingdom is a Herschel amusement park located in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's right by the Kentucky Exposition Center. This park has had a wild history, so I'll briefly go over it. This park opened in 1987 and was founded by Ed Hart. In 1997, Ed Hart sold the park to Six Flags. In 2010, Six Flags went bankrupt and Kentucky Kingdom remained standing but not operating until 2014. Ed Hart opened the park back up again in 2014, and in 2021, the decision was made to give Herschel Entertainment the right to Kentucky Kingdom. And since then, Herschel has been operating Kentucky Kingdom. Alright, now let's get back into current time. Kentucky Kingdom is 63 acres in area, and in that 63 acres, they do have a water park. I'll discuss that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the 5 roller coasters that they have. Roller Skater is a Vekoma Jr. coaster model. It is a pretty good coaster with yellow tracks, a cool logo, and a cool train. It pulls some good lateral forces throughout the ride. Recently, Herschel has removed some trees around the area though, so it gets a lot more hot whenever you're riding the ride due to the lack of shade. And when Roller Skater did have trees, it felt like you were kind of riding through like a mini forest. Now it just feels kind of pointless. Kentucky Flyer is a Gravity Group family wooden coaster, and it is pretty fun. It's not the most intense or anything, but it's nice. Be sure to ride this earlier in the day because the ride can build up a line, especially if they're only running one train. Also, the operations aren't the best. They take 1 to 2 minutes to get 12 people out, so that's between 360 to 720 riders per hour. This ride used to have extremely fast ride operators who would send the trains out in like record-breaking times. But the ride operators operating the ride now are a lot slower. Lightning Run is a Chance Hyper GTX roller coaster, and it's the first, and as of when this video is being made, the only one of its kind. This ride delivers a lot of airtime, and in one moment there is a gray out. This ride probably has the slowest ride operators in the whole park, averaging about 3 to 5 minutes per dispatch. The restraints of the ride come down easily, so brace yourself for that, because they can hurt. Thunder Run is a Din Corporation wooden roller coaster that Kentucky Kingdom takes great care of, retracking portions of this ride almost every year. The ride has 3 main airtime moments, but other than that, it's pretty boring. But in some moments, the track seems to have been reprofiled to have a little bit sharper moments than airtime hills. The ride operators are generally pretty efficient, though the ride only has one train it can operate with, so you're going to be waiting a while if there's a lot of people. Also, Thunder Run does seem to have a lot of delayed openings compared to the rest of the park, so prepare for that. I saved the best for last, which is Storm Chaser, an insane airtime machine that will probably leave bruises on your thighs. This ride is incredible. The ride operators will be really good or really bad, depending on what crew you have. I highly recommend asking for a little bit of room, as the ride operators have to pull down your lap bar for you. So make sure to ask for a bit of room so you can get some airtime. The ride operators toward the beginning of the season weren't the best, sending out trains about every 8 minutes. But now they're sending the 24 riders out about every 2 minutes. That's about all I have to say about the coasters of Kentucky Kingdom right now. The 4 major ones have their own separate review, which have already come out on Stormy Coasters. But what other rides do they have? I'll tell you all the major flat rides of the park right now. Toward the front of the park, you'll see Fearfall, which is a Larson drop tower. It's pretty fun to ride, giving a great view of the park, and a great free-falling sensation once you reach the top. Cyclos is a frisbee-type ride, which is a pretty fun ride that will flip you upside down multiple times. Cyclos is down a lot, so if you see it operating, be sure to do it, especially if you don't get to go to Kentucky Kingdom that often. Professor John's is a flying scooter attraction. It's a pretty good ride if you know how to snap. If you don't know how to snap on it, you basically take the wing and point it in toward the ride until it reaches its full speed, and then you pull the wing outwards until you're as far out as you can go. Then you go inwards again, outwards again, etc. They've got Stream Extreme, which is a Zamperla Endeavor ride, inverting you multiple times. It's thrilling yet relaxing at the same time. Back towards Storm Chaser, you'll see a splash boat attraction named Mile High Falls. This ride doesn't have a great capacity, but the drop is really fun, and it gets you soaked. If you see this ride with a short line, be sure to ride it. Kentucky Kingdom has a Larson Super Loop named Eye of the Storm. It's fun, but definitely don't do it multiple times in a row. In front of Eye of the Storm, there used to be bleachers, but they have been removed, so you can't sit and watch the ride anymore. Back by Eye of the Storm, it's pretty empty, with construction walls that are blocking the view from an eyesore. Raging Rapids River Ride is a raging rapids, of course. It'll get you wet, but it won't drench you. This ride has extremely confusing theming, and it's a bit hard to follow the story. The giant wheel is, well, a giant Ferris wheel, and it will give you an amazing view of Kentucky Kingdom. This is the tallest ride in the park, at about 150 feet tall. You aren't allowed to film during the ride though, so I sadly can't show you the amazing view that you get up there. Right by Kentucky Flyer is Skycatcher, and it's a nice relaxing star flyer which will fly you high above Kentucky Kingdom, giving a nice view of the park. It has a bad chest restraint that restricts your upper body from moving though. Kentucky Kingdom has a little kids section called King Louie's Playland. It is for little kids, and you'll have your classic frog hopper, teacups, and much more. This is really the only area where you'll find kid-oriented rides, other than like the roller skater area. Like I said, they do have a water park named Hurricane Bay. It is a pretty good water park, but the lines get really long really quickly, especially toward the middle of the day. They've had a lot of staffing shortages recently at Hurricane Bay, so there's not enough slide attendants for every slide. Deepwater Dive and Wave Runner were often closed this year. Same with Plummet Summit. Tornado gets extremely long lines. The slides are really fun, but the long lines this year have made it not worth it. So I have not visited Hurricane Bay in 2023. Alright, let's talk about some of the changes that Herschend has made to Kentucky Kingdom. They aren't major changes and very minor, except for a few of them. Starting off, Kentucky Kingdom has introduced one of the famous foods from other Herschend parks, cinnamon bread. In 2022, Kentucky Kingdom made the announcement to remove Deluge Water Coaster, and as of today, it's standing but not operating. They also removed the Sun and Moon Ferris wheel and a cute fire truck ride thing in 2022. Now it's 2023, Kentucky Kingdom has announced the removal of T3, and it has also been standing but not operating since the end of 2022. Eye of the Storm used to have bleachers that you could use to watch and film the ride from, but they have since been removed. And right by the area, there were signs saying fun under construction, but they're no longer there. There's also a few minor paintings that used to be around the park, but they aren't there anymore. The park website also changed. Before Herschend took over, Kentucky Kingdom used to have a website with very vibrant colors such as blue, yellow, red, green, etc., marking each type of thing, and the website was extremely easy to navigate. Herschend's website is still extremely easy to navigate, but now you have bland colors. Also, the operations of the park aren't too good. Like I said earlier, for Storm Chasers, they've gotten up to 8 minutes to dispatch a single train, which is ridiculous. I've noticed that Storm Chaser, they've been running 2 trains with the slower operators, but they've only been running 1 with the faster operators. Speaking of Storm Chaser, the ride crew must pull your own lap bar down for you. You aren't allowed to pull it down yourself anymore. Thankfully, if you ask for a bit of room, they'll generally give you a couple inches. Now something that goes for all the coasters. You have a lower chance of marathoning because the ride operators won't let you. And when there's nobody in their row. That is a bit ridiculous. So far, Herschend hasn't been super nice with Kentucky Kingdom, and I get that a lot of things are nitpicks, but some of them are a bit more serious. They've removed 2 major rides, as well as a few more kids' rides, and they have yet to announce anything new. If you got a Diamond Season Pass this year for Kentucky Kingdom, you know that you can get immediate Fast Pass access to various rides in the park. To me, as somebody who doesn't have this option, I find it frustrating. Whenever loading FastPass people, it would often take 1 or 2 minutes longer to load the train, which means that the lines would crawl. Also, the front and back rows were kind of gambling games if you were going to ride them. The FastPass people generally picked those rows, so you may or may not have gotten to ride the next train. This was extremely frustrating. I'm okay with parks using a FastPass system, even if I'm in the standby, as the line still consistently moves, but only if the FastPass isn't the exit. There needs to be a line that will eventually connect to the standby. That way the people in the station won't be affected. Thankfully, Kentucky Kingdom is not continuing the FastPass in 2024, so marathoning rides might get easier. The final thing I'm going to talk about is Pumpkins at Kentucky Kingdom, which is the Halloween event for Kentucky Kingdom that Hershon has brought. So far, I've done this event once this season, and I wasn't super happy with the result. Starting off, when we were entering the park, we could not enter because our 2023 season passes were replaced with 2024 season passes. My dad and I had already gotten our 2024 season passes, but my mom and sister had still yet to get their 2024 passes. So we walked into the park with 2023 passes, and they didn't work. This is ridiculous, as it was still 2023 at the time. So why couldn't a 2023 pass, which is advertised for all year 2023, get us into Kentucky Kingdom in 2023? I don't know. Next up, I already knew that Thunder Run was going to be closed going into the visit, as it said it on the website. However, Lightning Run was also closed for our whole visit, and we weren't warned at all. Because there weren't many major rides in the front, most people seemed to be piled in the back of the park. The only 3 coasters that were open were Roller Skater, Kentucky Flyer, and Storm Chaser. All 3 of them were only running 1 train. I get that Roller Skater can only operate with 1 train, so that gets a pass. But Kentucky Flyer and Storm Chaser on such a busy night are not fun rides to wait for with 1 train operation, as it slows the line down by about half. I didn't even bother waiting for Kentucky Flyer, as it was almost the end of the queue, so I would have been there for a long time. Storm Chaser's line wasn't as long, but it was still a good 30 minutes the first time I rode it, and the 1 train ops made it feel so slow. The ride operators were fast though, so kudos to them. Okay, so I've been to Kentucky Kingdom for Pumpkins once more, and I had a much better time. There were short lines, I got to marathon a few rides, I got Zen rides on Kentucky Flyer, and marathon Storm Chaser for like an hour. Anyways, that's going to wrap up Kentucky Kingdom's 2023 review. This was definitely an interesting year for the park. I think Hershon should improve their operations. But I've still got one more thing. Would I recommend visiting Kentucky Kingdom? Absolutely. While this isn't the greatest park, it is absolutely worth visiting if you're in the area, and you'll probably be pretty impressed by Storm Chaser. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed. Please subscribe to Stormy Coasters and like this video. Comment below your thoughts on Kentucky Kingdom if you've been, and have a great rest of your day.